Hey, what's up guys, John here. We all remember the famous video of Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum.
Pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
He said that the next pandemic will be a cyber pandemic, and it will make the last pandemic look like a mere disturbance where we will lose access to hospital services, transportation, banking, everything would come to a grinding halt, including the power grid.
The COVID-19 pandemic has shaken our economies and societies to the core. In the digital world, similar risks are being overlooked right now. A cyber attack with COVID-like characteristics would spread faster and further than any biological virus. Its reproductive rate would be around 10 times greater than what we've experienced with the coronavirus.
Now, some information came out this morning about how this is actually unfolding and what's actually going on. It is shocking. Americans need to prepare for it. I'm going to show you word for word what's going on. They're even discussing things such as everything's going to move to a digital currency in a new world. Well, here's what's going on. Please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube's going to share this content to educate the people about what's really going on. And if you'd like to fix your credit, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com by clicking the link in the description below this video for a free consultation. Take a look at this. So, first and foremost, January 18th, 2023. So we'll do a timeline here. They said that geopolitical instability means cyber catastrophe is imminent. They go on to say that the report shows that 86% of business leaders believe that global geopolitical instability is moderately or very likely to be a catastrophic cyber event in the next 2 years. So we're approaching 1 year since this article came out, 1 year, and they said that 93% of cyber leaders have the same opinion, claims report. So this is all from the World Economic Forum, WEF, right? The report on global cybersecurity outlook for 2023. So that is the data coming from them. Now, they said at that time that this could be as big as 10.5 trillion. But an article came out today referencing the World Economic Forum. October 18th, global economy could lose 3.5 trillion in systemic cyber attack. That's an average. So it's a weighted average. Right here, weighted average across 3 severities modeled at 3.5 trillion. However, the most extreme was $16 trillion. $16 trillion. Try to wrap your head around how big of an issue that would be, what that would look like. I mean, basically the entire world would come to a near grinding halt in the most extreme scenario. But they're saying that these scenarios could likely happen due to a situation like Israel and Hamas or Russia and Ukraine or any type of trade war, that there could be hackers that could go into the system and cause this level of disruption. This is what they're saying. So what they've done is they've created something called Cyber Polygon. Cyber Polygon in 2020 is when it was first announced. And in Cyber Polygon, these are some of the things they've role-played, some of these scenarios, some of these situations. So here's what this looks like. They say also that the cyber pandemic is here. So they're saying that it's already here. And these partners, many of which want to remain anonymous. They don't want you to know who they are. But there's some big names that don't really care if you know, like IBM and many others. So there's 200 teams, 48 countries have now registered for the training. Think about how big of an operation this is. And this is this is the CEO, is Klaus Schwab, the head of the World Economic Forum. So when you look at this, you have people like Steve Wozniak, Interpol. You have huge players that are here. And so what they said here is they said the next session will be New World, New Currency, how to make the financial system resilient as digital currencies proliferate. Think about that. New World, New Currency, how to make financial systems resilient as digital currencies proliferate. So you have all these countries all around the world already working on central bank digital currencies. It's already moving in this direction. One big event would cause everything to rush into that movement. And you have situations like, the head of Russia, the Bank of Russia is a part of this. You have Monetary System Initiative, World Economic Forum, president of MasterCard, Europe. You have global head of strategic partnerships and ventures, Visa. You have all of these major players. This isn't like some small little, like these are the biggest, the brightest minds, the deepest pockets, the most powerful people all talking about this. It's something to pay attention to. So they say that, the more you look into this, the more you start to really scratch your head and realize this thing's about to get real. This thing's about to get crazy. It's even the small guys are paying attention to this too. Like the New York State of Bar Association, right? So the Bar Association, they're already getting ready for it. A cyber pandemic has the potential to cause widespread damage to businesses and individuals all over the world. Every business is at risk. In this webinar, we'll discuss how you can protect your law firm from cyber attacks, as well as what steps are needed in order to stay safe. Now is the time to prepare. Don't miss out on gaining comprehensive understanding of immediate measures you can take to protecting your client's private information. It's all going to come to a blockchain. This is where we're all moving. And so when you look at how this conversation, how this is unfolding, June 14th, they say that Cyber Pandemic Prep, CISA, warns of Chinese cyber attacks as new DARPA program looks for flaws in commercial devices. They go on to say cyber pandemic rhetoric is making the rounds again, with the director of the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency warning that China may use aggressive cyber operations on U.S. pipelines and rail lines. At the same time, the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects is putting together a research program to identify vulnerabilities in commercial devices and platforms. In the event of a conflict, since June, we've, obviously the situation in Russia and Ukraine was escalating. Now you have Israel and Hamas. You're having all these problems that are developing. We're already moving into a world of conflict. In an event of conflict, China will almost certainly use aggressive cyber operations to go after critical infrastructure, to include pipelines and rail lines, to delay military deployment, and to induce societal panic. This is, I think, is the real threat that we need to be prepared for and to focus on and to be resilient against. The threat of cyber attacks on critical infrastructure is nothing new. Last year, the White House put out a statement warning that Russia was exploring options for potential cyber attacks on critical infrastructure as well. Likewise, World Economic Forum and partners have for years been prepping for cyber pandemic. The founder, Klaus Schwab, would be a complete halt. It would bring a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital service, and society as a whole. So this is what they're already saying this. We need to deal with this specific tactic, what's called living off the land, which is essentially threat of actors using native processes of your computers to get a foothold. So look at this now. You have cyber attacks targeting Israel after the Hamas attack. This came out October 10th, about a week ago. Then Israel is facing an onslaught of cyber attacks, including some tied to Russia, right? This about a week ago. Then you have internet companies report the biggest ever denial of service operations due to small cyber attacks that are happening all throughout America. Then you have this. Half of small businesses hit with cyber attack over the past year. This came out last week. Cybersecurity has become a top concern for small, medium businesses, and nearly half, 48% of SMEs, have experienced at least one cyber incident in the past year. This, according to a new survey from accounting and payroll software provider Sage. Roche Healthcare, one of Sage's customers, is one of the SMEs that have recently experienced a recent incident. Cindy Cleesby, another spokesperson, shared her experience during the Sage event in London. 2 months after we decided to change our data hosting servers, the provider we were working with, who was hosting most of our data, was hit with a cyber attack. They shut down the system for 6 months, meaning we had to do a lot manually during that time, including invoices. Some companies surveyed by Sage were even more unlucky, with 1/4, 25% of respondents saying that they had to go through several cyber attacks over the course of 1 year. So you're seeing the advancement of this. And when you look at the chart from, let's call it 2020, with about 4.2, so this is in millions of dollars, right? Annual amount of monetary damages caused by reported cybercrime in the United States. So 4.2 billion, right? All the way up to 6.9 billion in 2021. To now 10.3 billion in 2022. So you start to look at what 2023 is going to look like, what 2024 is going to look like. We're walking into this disaster, but I think a lot of people are underestimating the severity of what this would actually mean. They estimate that if the electrical grid goes down and stays down for any extended period of time, most of us who live in modern industrialized countries will not do well, within a matter of days to a few months. This is true because without electricity, none of the things that enable us to live in modern industrial societies work. So, when you look at all these things that are happening all over the world, one problem after the next, one problem after the next, it's like a death by 1,000 cuts. Every single day, it's a big breaking story. And it's normalizing insanity. People are getting used to the craziness. People are getting used to, everything that's happening. People are just going to say, okay, it's just another day. This situation would completely restructure everything. And I think what ultimately would happen is if this did happen, it would just be another crazy situation for 30 days, 60 days. People would just say, okay, the people that were able to adopt would basically say, okay, this is the new normal. This is okay. This is fine. But it will be a massive transition, a massive transformation of America and the world as we know it. And I believe that the odds of this happening are a lot greater than most people think. In fact, if I were a betting man, I would bet that we are very likely walking into this over the next 6 to 12 to 24 to 36 months. We're going to be walking into this problem. It just makes sense. If you have the most powerful people in the world all sitting in a room saying that this is likely what's going to happen, I mean, the most powerful, most connected, all sitting in a room saying this is very likely what's going to happen, I would bet my money that they're probably right. What do you think? Drop your comments below, hit the like button, add me on IG, and if you want to fix your credit, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com by clicking the link in the description below this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.